Hello and welcome to the Berkcast, the How to Train Dragon podcast. I'm your host HC, and with me is
Wolf.
and Rush is sleeping on us. But hey, you might get his views on the matter later. But we're here now. Let's talk about this.
To be fair, he did say he was feeling
DreamWorks.
a little ill. We'll give him a bit of a break. Just a
hmm
bit.
yeah, we we still love Rush, and we need him.
Somewhat.
Anyway, DreamWorks announced the new villain for How to Train Dragon 3, named Grimmel, right? His name is Grimmel?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have a new villain in How to Train Dragon 3. His name is Grimmel. He is voiced by F. Murray Abraham,
Yep.
who people may know from Amadeus.
Mm-hmm.
So we are gathered here today in order to talk about this new villain, even though we don't really know anything about him yet. We don't even know what he looks like. We just know he's going to be in the movie. He's going to be a villain, and we are a How to Train Dragon podcast, so it's kind of our job to talk about him as soon as he was announced.
We do.
So
We do have the one major thing that we know about him, more or less, is that he'll be. He won't have a Scottish accent supposedly. He'll be a rather deep baritone voice in the classic villain sense.
if he doesn't have a Scottish accent, I wish he has a child, a son or a daughter that has a Scottish accent. It will be completely upside down.
Uh huh. And Chris DeFaria, the head of DreamWorks Animation Film Group, did say this character brings a captivating new storyline to the culmination of our trilogy. There is a gentlemanly calm to this sinister role, one that dovetails beautifully with this iconic character's immense range and talents.
So Drago, in other words.
I don't know if Drago was a gentlemanly calm, not with all the
Well,
ah, you know.
well, when he came to propose his his proposition. Go me. Um, when he came to the chief meeting with Stuek and all the other chiefs who died at the time, he seemed to be a bit of a gentleman until they, laughed at his face. So, yeah. How would you describe Drago? Anyway, so let's talk about this guy. What do you think about this announcement? Do we need another villain? You
Well,
think
I mean,
you need?
we should ask the question, right? This is the, I guess you'd say, one of the more recent announcements we've had in about a year that's really given us any idea of the potential plot of How to Train Your Dragon, right? I would
Yeah,
say,
I
like,
think
the last major thing we
since
got
that,
was the log line, right?
yeah, exactly, and that it's coming out in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it.
So it's worth asking the question, right? When you say another villain, you imply that Drago's still going to be in the third film. As of right now, even the logline, in which the logline doesn't really have a point to mention Drago, but are we certain Drago's even going to be in the third film at this point? He may not be.
Um, Here's the thing. Dean said that he
He
is
did say that,
in the
but that
third
was
film.
about a year and a half to 2 years ago at this point. A lot of
Yeah,
things could
but here's the
change
thing.
production-wise, right? I would say.
Yeah, I'm getting to this. I'm getting to this.
Okay.
Just here's the thing. One, Dean said that he is in the film. At one point, he did say it. And second of all, and I think that's another thing that we need to take into consideration. Digimon Hanzo is confirmed to be part of the cast.
Never not gonna
Yeah,
laugh at
I,
that,
I
man.
know it's not his name, but I
I'm never not
did
gonna laugh at it.
say I'm calling it that.
Go ahead.
Well, anyway, so yeah, the voice actor is part of the cast. As far as I'm aware, he's confirmed. He's signed on to this. So if the voice actor is around, I'm not really seeing a reason as to why he won't be back unless they like to pay actors for not doing anything in the movie. Um,
I mean, technically, Stoic's back.
well, yeah, but we do know that there may be flashbacks, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be this Mufasa style scene. So, you know,
Our
not
Stoic
necessarily, not
Skybeard.
necessarily, not necessarily with a beard, but maybe in a dream or like
A bearded
he
statue,
appears.
maybe.
What is up with you and this fucking beard? I mean, come on.
Have you seen his beard? It looks amazing.
Yeah, I saw his beard. Yeah, I saw his beard. Doesn't mean I have to be obsessed with it.
The poorer you are, my friend, the poorer you are.
Yeah.
You know not what you miss in this glorious bearded world.
Yeah. All I can think is shaving this thing might be a nightmare. But anyway, going back to the point I'm trying to bring up, Dean did say that apparently How to Train Dragon 3 went through a rewrite at one point, like from the idea he initially had to what we pretty much have now, and where he said that Steven Spielberg himself told them that he cried on the last 3 pages.
Yeah,
so
he also said
is the draft?
it went through 2 actual rewrites, according to him, or something like that. Either way, it's been at least rewritten once, right? So.
Yeah, so if he rewrote the entire thing at least once, or twice, as far as we know, Drago may have been out of the loop. But I don't know, doesn't it seem pretty like a lame way to go out, like pretty much drown? If you know what I mean.
He wasn't forced. I mean, he could have floated. I mean, the Bewilderbeast could have, like, I don't know. We'll just assume the Bewilderbeast was so scared it drowned Drago. That's how he's out.
Or maybe he tried screaming at him and then he lost his breath and swallowed all this water and, he suffocated.
So either way, he went out via his own stupidity, and it just did a fitting end or non-fitting, depending on which way you want to look at it.
That may the thought that he died by drowning makes.
I'm just imagining him underneath the water, riding on top of the wildebeest, screaming his head off, waving his staff around underneath the water, and just slowly he realizes, I can't breathe, and dies. I'm just imagining that, and that's just wonderful. I would be perfectly fine if that's the way he went out.
But the killer thing for me, killer, I just got it. I just got what I said. But the thing, but what I think about is that after the wildebeest goes underwater, there's this short moment where like Hiccup looks at the water, and then he like nods his head like, it's like, well, I assume he can't swim. Okay. Oh man.
Well, of this off topic to ask the question.
Yeah.
Are we okay with, like, is it, do we think Drago's still going to be in the third film? I think that is a question that's worth possibly asking.
Wait. Before this, so what do you think? So Drago's gone, and assuming he's gone.
Yeah, assuming.
Do you think do you think he needs to be replaced? Because maybe we can just tell the story about Hiccup and Toothless again, like in the first one, where there was no real villain.
Yeah,
just
that's a good question as well.
An obstacle.
Yeah, like you said, like, do we need another villain per se? I I think they could
Because
get by without
if
it.
this movie is about, because if the heart of this movie is still Hiccup and Turtles' relationship, but at the same time they are kind of driving into that direction of they're separating at the end.
Yeah.
Um, if they are going that direction, and the dual storyline that's been talked about, Hiccup and Turtles going their separate ways and stuff. I think there's enough drama in just those two trying to like stand on their own and not with each other. But who know, maybe a villain could help. And to be honest, when Dean said that Drago is going to be in this movie, he said that he's going to be a lot more sympathetic.
Hmm.
So maybe if Drago is in the movie, maybe he's not the villain. Maybe he's reformed. A lot of villains get reformed in this franchise. So why not him?
Yeah, this is true. I I would agree, right? Like I think I would say that it would definitely be possible for them to do a movie without a villain again. Again, like the first movie didn't necessarily have a villain, and I think they could do it for this one as well. It would be different and probably a bit more difficult, but I think they could do it. And I think they could pull it off well. So I'm hesitant to say that this villain will be bad or terrible, but
Well, we don't know that,
uh,
but
I mean, it definitely sounds like, again, though, you have, say Drago is gone, having a brand new villain come out of nowhere. I don't know how they're going to work it out necessarily. It seems a bit off, maybe. And if Drago is still there, then again, these two are going to be connected, and you have to ask the question: do we need that? Why would we want that?
Mhm. And also,
And
kind
that
of
comes back to
something
your
I thought about
original.
now.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead,
I
just
mean, it's
to
bringing it back to
close this.
your original question. I guess to answer, from my opinion, I don't necessarily want another one, and I don't necessarily think we need another one. But if Drago is involved, and if Drago isn't no longer involved, is no longer involved, then I would still say I don't think we need another villain, but I'm okay with a new villain, I guess, just depending on how they do it. But I would rather have seen them do without and see where that went, maybe. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the thing I want to ask you, there's no such character as Grimmel in the books, right?
No, there is not.
Okay, just making sure.
No, I can't.
Um,
I can't say that this character won't be based off of a character from the books, but there's not a character that goes by that name at the least. Well,
okay.
there's a character with a somewhat similar name. Some people would be, get mad at me if I didn't mention it. Grimbeard the Ghastly, but it's still not quite the same name. So
Hmm. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, if we do get a new villain, what do you think? What do you think happens to Drago in this case? Maybe they're connected.
I, if Drago's still in the film, yeah, I would say they're probably connected, right? Eh, the question is, how would they be connected? Are they family? Are they, is Drago not? I can't assume Drago answers to someone else, right? Like that just for who he is and what he's trying to do, that just makes no sense, right? Like to me,
The one thing that will ruin this entire thing to me is if all of a sudden they'll say that Grimmel is like this one soldier in the background in How to Train a Dragon 2 who decided to rebel. He's the captain of the ships when Drago tells them, gather the men and meet me at Berk. And then he shows up at Berk and see that Drago is not there. So it's like, he lied to me. There you go. There's your motivation.
it's just that would be really bad. I mean, he could be from the army, that is a possibility. Like, the second movie doesn't really say anything about the army or where they're at or what they're doing, so he could be like a second in command for Drago, and he's
That
decided
was
to do his
before
own thing now.
GPS. That was before GPS was founded, so maybe they just got lost.
Possible. They also drowned. Also possible. I mean,
That's some. Yeah, go on.
I would definitely say, if I said, if Drago is still in the third film at this point, I would say they're probably connected in a familial sense. Would be my best guess. Would be my best guess as of now. I would say familial sense, just because that's the thing that makes the most sense to me. And if not familial, maybe from a tribal sense. Like, we did hear Drago talk about his past and his childhood a little bit when he revealed to Hiccup that he was missing his left or right arm, I think it was. So
It's his left arm.
left arm. All right. Well, my apologies. One of his arms is gone. So, with that being the case, I would say maybe they're from his tribe, maybe it's from his past family. It's someone he might be close with, maybe someone he might not be super close with.
You know, kind of a theory. If I'm calling it, then I'm calling it. I'm not sure, but might as well try it. If Drago is supposed to be like a more sympathetic villain, again, from what we were told, and we know that he lost his family, and you said I can't really see Drago. You said that you can see Drago answering to anyone. So the only person I will see Drago answering to, if he's not the main villain, Grimmel is that if Grimmel is his father.
True. Yeah, that would definitely make sense. And it's also possible, though, that they're connected from a business sense and not from any other sense. Like, we've talked about Vigo and Drago being connected by a business. Maybe that's the same relationship here, and maybe with Drago being defeated, Grimmel's like, well, business has been ruined. I want to get back at you now. Something like along those lines. Maybe that's a possibility as well. And Grimmel sees business opportunities capturing dragons from Berk, so he attacks Berk to do so. That's a possibility.
Yeah, could work. Okay, so got anything else to add on that subject, or can we move on?
No, I would say we I would say we can move on.
Okay, so far from the things we were promised about How to Train a Dragon 3, if something changed, if something was dropped out, we don't know. But as of now, we have a dueling storyline for Hiccup and Toothless. Toothless we're apparently going to get a more backstory out of. Hiccup will eventually have to come to stand on his own. Drago is going to be a lot more of a sympathetic villain, flashbacks, and a whole new villain. So, do you think having this new villain will detract from the overall story, and do you think it's becoming too crowded?
I have faith, right, that DreamWorks can pull it off. I don't think it would detract in any way, but I would definitely say at this point, they might be trying to add in and throw in too much. Right? Like, there's just so much going on in the third movie that I think they're trying to do too much at this point, and adding in a new villain. If Drago's still a part of the villain and he's still going to be in the third movie, if he's still a part of it, yeah, at this point I would say it's definitely, for me at least anyways, no matter how well they do it, as of right now, from what I know about the third movie at this point, it feels like it might just be way too crowded at this point, and like they're trying to do way too much.
Yeah, I agree that it sounds like they're trying to do a lot in this movie, but then again, I am confident that Dean can pull this off.
Yeah.
But at the same time, But at the same time, I feel like maybe some of the stuff we are promised right now. Again, we don't know. Maybe in a year from now they'll confirm that everything we heard about this movie in the first few years of production, like after How to Train Dragon 2 came out, maybe something was dropped, something was changed, because again, two major rewrites, a
Mm-hmm.
lot can change with two major rewrites.
Yep.
So, um, so if it will detract from the story, well, that depends on what the new story is about.
Mm-hmm.
But again, from what we know, yeah, there are a lot of things that need to be developed here. Like if Hiccup and Tutus are separating at the end, it can't just happen on a whim. We need to show how it's happening, because right now I don't see these two separating like ever. But if it's going to happen, you need to convince me.
Mm-hmm.
And then if Drago is going to be a lot more sympathetic, well, that's another bunch of screen time dedicated to this. And then Tutus's backstory, screen time dedicated to this. And there's a lot. There's a lot you need. And let's say this movie won't try and go for the 2 hour mark. I think,
How long was the second movie? Was an hour and 45 minutes, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
I don't
With
think
all of that, I
like
have to believe they'll be going for the 2 hour mark. I have to believe they'll will. They will at this point. Just
yeah, but that is an interesting point, because how many animated movies have reached the 2 hour mark?
recently, I think most animated movies you see are actually very close to 2 hours.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they are close as in they're an hour and 45 minutes. You know what? You know. Hmm.
I'm looking up a list real quick. Longest animated movies. There's 25 different titles. It seems the longest one is The Tale of Princess Kaguya, but that's not exactly. Let's see if there's any Disney or
It's
DreamWorks.
Yeah, it's Japanese though, right?
Yeah, that's Japanese. That's
Studio Ghibli.
yes, Studio Ghibli, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So
Okay, I also think Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away are around the 2 hour mark.
yeah, they are. The Fantasia's, that's still very old. The most recent one I'm seeing is Cars. Apparently hit. How long was it? Uh,
To be honest, I had no idea. Yeah, how long was it?
I'm looking for a thing.
Well, I will say I
117
didn't expect
minutes.
100. So you know what?
Over two
Let's say it's
hours.
2 hours because it's 2 hours. Let's
Well,
say it's
very.
2 hours because it's 3 minutes short of it.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So who knows? But considering all they have to do, and that How to Train a Dragon is not your run-of-the-mill animated franchise in terms of how many quote-unquote risks they sometimes take. I won't be surprised if they'll reach the 2 hour mark, and if they'll do, then I can see them pulling this off in a lot more confident.
Um,
But
from this
that.
list of 25 movies that are very close to the 2 hour mark, it would
Mhm.
seem that none of them are DreamWorks films.
Hmm.
Like they only like
So
a lot of them are Japanese, Eastern animated films as well. The only Western ones are Ratatouille, Beowulf, uh, The Incredibles, and Cars are the only ones on this list. And this is just a list of 25, by the way.
interesting that they are all Pixar,
Mm-hmm.
like most of them. I'm not sure about the second one you mentioned. But anyway, yeah. So I do think it's becoming a bit too crowded, but again, that's based on all the information we know, and not all the information we know is necessarily in the final cut of the film that's being animated right now. So a lot could have changed. That's the basic point.
It's worth asking the question: Do you think this is a decision that Universal might have made since their acquisition of DreamWorks?
Um, could from the one standpoint could be because uh, there will be toys made of this movie. Let's not kid ourselves. There are How to Train Your Dragon merchandise being sold. There's the toothless plush that is staring right into my soul right now is an evidence of. But at the same time, I also think we said it last week. When you go to the store and buy a How to Train Your Dragon merchandise, do you buy the Hiccup figure or do you buy the toothless plush?
Well, no Hook Fang? I go for Hook Fang.
Uh,
Hook Fang.
So,
I mean, no, I get
so
what
in
you're
that
saying.
case,
You'll definitely pick up a dragon thing before you would a specific, action figure of one of the human characters, right? You'll probably pick up the dragon related thing first, like Toothless or Hook Fang or what have you.
yes.
Because
So
I mean,
in that case,
dragons, right? Why
in
not?
that case, yeah. So in that case, would you like to buy the figure of the new villain, or maybe the figure of the dragon he may or may not ride? That's so. If this is like a marketing ploy, let's call it that. If like if this is like what's the name, Comcast, right?
Well, Universal, but they're owned by
Universal
Comcast
Comcast
as
one.
well.
So Universal, Comcast, whoever, if if it was their idea, I'm not sure it's there for story significance. But we had this cool design. Let's try and make it a toy and sell it with a movie.
It's possible. I mean, it's worth remembering the reason they acquired DreamWorks in the first place, right? Was for the Universal theme park stuff. Like that's why they wanted DreamWorks. That's one of the
Yeah, exactly.
reasons they wanted DreamWorks.
That's why I said what I said. Like
So yeah,
that's my thinking area for this specific thing. But
if that's the case, that definitely doesn't necessarily make me confident that this was a good decision. Because if they're doing like, hey, let's throw in this new character because of merchandise or toys or theme park rides, like that can, that's if you're not considering the story and the characters and you're just throwing this character into the story because of merchandising, that's definitely not a good thing, and it's definitely going to hurt people's confidence. I would assume they're smarter than that, but sometimes mistakes are made.
So I'm not sure if it was really their idea, but
It's something to consider and
you
talk
know,
about.
it's something, yeah, because it's hard to say without any solid leads to any direction. Because I could say it's not them all the way until tomorrow, and then all of a sudden the movie can come out, and then we'll say, no, this was totally not my idea. I had to work with a character I didn't create, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so everything's up in the air regarding this. So I guess the last thing we have to talk about is, have you ever heard of the actor that's portraying his voice, and do you think he could play a villain?
Yes, I have heard of him. I've seen him in Amadeus, but that's about as far as my knowledge of him specifically goes.
Yeah, and excuse me, guys, I don't really remember the specific movie.
It's definitely been a while. Amadeus is a great film. Should definitely go watch it if you haven't.
Mhm.
It's a wonderful
Oh
film,
yeah.
very good. But yeah, it's definitely been a while since I've seen it. Uh, Otherwise, looking at like the Wikipedia page for him, stuff that I've seen that he's in is not much. Like just taking a quick browse
Apparently
through.
he was in Last Action Hero, but again I don't really remember that. So yay.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of films he's been in that I have not seen at all.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
I have heard his voice in the past, and I did do like I did before we did this episode. I looked up just so I could remember what his voice sounded like. I think based on his voice alone, I think he would fit in this world, and I think he would work, and I think he would do well as a more gentlemanly villain. I think he would fit that role very well.
Hmm.
I don't know, but again, like having only seen him in Amadeus, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he does play a villain in that role too. Let me see if I can find it on here. Where is it? Yeah, I think he does play one of the villains in that role as well, in that film as well. So,
Hmm.
remembering that, and again, it's been a while. I think he could do well as a villain, but that's all I can say. Like, I don't know if he would work as this particular villain. I don't know if this particular villain would work, again, without knowing anything story wise and just going off of the gentlemanly villain. I think he could fit the role well. And I think it would fit into this world. Seeing, Vigo being as a gentlemanly, quote unquote gentlemanly villain himself as well. For a time, at least, anyways, I think, again, it'll definitely fit in this world. It'll definitely work. But will it
Hmm.
work for the film? I can't entirely say.
Well, based on his looks, I think he has the look for being a gentleman villain, but then again,
Of
the
the
look is not
actor.
what we need.
Yeah, the look of
We
the
need the
actor.
voice.
Yeah.
But hey, it's something. It's something. Oh, and hmm, give me a second here. But if you have anything else to say about the matter, go ahead.
It
I
it
just
is
need to
worth
take
remembering
over.
this particular actor is not this particular actor is not British born. He is American born. So that's probably one of the reasons why they don't have him doing a Scottish accent. May not have a very good Scottish accent. Don't know. It's most of the characters from this particular film. And I say most. Some of the characters for these particular franchise are definitely not American born actors. Gerard Butler, Craig Ferguson, Jay Baruchel, uh, Dimon Hansu, are four that I can list off the top of my fingers. I think Kate Blanchett as well is not, from America originally. You know,
She's Australian.
mm, all five of these characters are definitely, you know, from overseas in different parts of the world, and most of them, have those foreign accents, and can definitely do those roles very well with that foreign accent. I think I think America Ferrera, uh, I think it's Christopher Mintz-Plasse and T.J. Miller and can't remember Snotlout's actor's name.
Hmm. Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. Yeah, all four of them
He,
are American born.
yeah, and Jay Baruchel is Canadian,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. It is kind of interesting that they took. Let's see. Excuse me. Anyway, The thing about them not giving him an accent is interesting because every adult character so far, at least in the movies, had an American accent. Like I think
Well,
the youngest one is Eret.
uh, not the adult actors, but the teen actors had an American accent, not a Scottish or British accent or Irish.
Hmm. Yeah, well, but again, it is interesting that they chose to point that out. Like, do you think maybe it has something to do with his character?
It could.
Like, because people have been. I have been debating this with people. Do you think Drago is Scottish?
I know. I don't think he is. I think they intentionally set him up in a way to make him seem like he's from a different area.
Hmm. Because I thought if he isn't Scottish, then maybe my theory has another thing to back it up. Well, to be honest, I have no idea where I'm going with this. Like, yeah, he doesn't have an accent, but it is an interesting thing that, why would they point it out? Maybe it has some sort of a thing in the long run, but
I mean, it
yeah,
has technically been somewhat of a running joke that all of the adult characters in this film franchise have some kind of
yeah,
accent.
but the teenagers don't.
Yeah.
So
The
maybe.
the like probably the only exception is Drago, and
Hmm.
even then you can still hear like he's supposed to have somewhat of an accent. Like you can still hear it. It's just
Yeah.
it's not an accent that comes from the archipelago, but Gobber, Stoic, Valka even all have
Hmm.
accents.
Yes.
None of the teens do. Even Arid as well has an accent. None of the teens do.
Yeah. It does funny, however, whenever Hiccup impersonates Stoic, he does the accent. Like, he's aware of it. He's
Yeah.
aware.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before we talk about accent any longer and probably take the chance to offend someone, because I don't know, anything else we have to say about Grimmel before we close this episode and our theories about him?
um, I am cautiously interested in what this might mean for the third film.
Yeah, I'll pretty much have the same thing. Mm. I'm interested. What would actually happen with him is a whole other story that we need to wait a bit more to find out.
I'm very interested to know if Drago is gone or if he's still in the third film at this point.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll get the answer soon. But I think I pretty much said all of the things I have to say about him for now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if that's the case, thank you for joining us to this episode of the Berkcast. We hope you enjoyed. If you have anything to say about Grimmel, do you think he'll be a good villain, a bad villain? Are you excited to see a new one? Whatever you have to say about him, you can do this on either the Berg Combined forums, as we are all there. On Twitter, we are Bergcast capital B, capital C. On Tumblr, we are Bergcast Team, and you can also, of course, comment on the YouTube page itself,
Mm-hmm.
on of the YouTube page of the episode itself. So until next time, I was HC,
And I've been Wolf.
and we'll talk to you all next time. Take care.
Bye bye.